You don't know until you try. And coming from Instagram streaming and going to Twitch streaming mobile is it's quite a bit different, that's for sure. So please excuse the mess while I kind of on the fly adjust to everything. We're going to be doing Traditional Art Thursday, and January's theme is For the Love of Bob Ross. This is the third painting in the series that I've been doing live. And yeah, it's been a lot of fun. We've been giving away the paintings every week. This is the painting that we gave away this week, just now, to lucky viewer Amanda. And she's gonna email me, and it's gonna get mailed out to her this week. So next week giveaway painting, we're gonna paint in the Bob Ross style this little seam. It's got a lot more color. It's really popular with people. They really like it, so I thought I would give that one a whirl. It's very glowy, very intense pink color. So I'm just gonna set that aside for now. We'll do it in landscape. This is an 8x10 illustration board. We're gonna do kind of a pseudo tutorial. So let me pull the chat up on my side over here. Great, looks good. We're gonna start by misting down our area. And I put some paint down on the canvas already. We're using the Winsor & Newton Galleria acrylic. It's the second step up in acrylic paints for them, I believe. Just one step up from the student version. And we're wetting our brushes pretty well first, because this illustration board is gonna eat up a lot of water as we paint. I didn't pre-mix any of the colors that I'm using tonight. We're just doing primaries, like landscape primaries. So that's cadmium red hue, ultramarine, and then for the yellow, cadmium yellow, the pale hue. For black and white, I just use the basics. Really easy to find. You can find them at any craft store, art and craft store. Actually, no, I take that back. The craft stores are pretty chintzy with their paint selection, I've noticed more recently, so maybe just the art stores. So in order to enter the drawing for this painting, you'll just go to my website and enter the word Bob3 is the password this week. And I'm going to write that in the chat for us. Bob3, code word for winning this painting. You have to be in the continental United States. That's the one requirement. And definitely putting a lot of happy clouds into this painting. I was doing my streaming on Instagram. I have a decent following. It's not huge or anything. I got a decent amount of fans on Instagram and people I know and people that are interested, but you can only stream for an hour. You can only do it once a day. So if you run out of time, you're just like, you're out of time. And then they only keep your stream up there for 1 day. 1 day. And they don't let you download it. I know, it keeps on getting worse. They don't let you download it. So I had to watch my own stream on a different device, screen cap it, crop out the interface, and then post it on YouTube and kind of announce this contest on YouTube as well so that people could enter all week long. And I was getting done with those paintings in about 45 to 50 minutes, but the vibe was a little bit more rushed than I want it to be, and it wasn't exactly for the joy of painting in the 45 minutes. It was kind of like speed mode, hurrying through all the announcements and announcing the winner just very, very quickly. It felt very rushed, and just on top of the other things, it was too much burden to bear. After I did a couple streams, digital media streams on Twitch, I was kind of sold on the layout and the community. So that's very cool. And so Traditional Art Thursdays are coming to Twitch as well. And I'm just going to leave that contest open for anybody that wants to participate across all platforms. So what I'll probably do for the Instagram folks is I will make a time-lapse version of this, and then I will kind of give them the same contest details over there. Same thing with YouTube, except for this will be much easier because this is horizontal footage. That's the other thing. Instagram only has vertical footage, which is why I tried this. I don't know if any of you saw that a couple minutes ago, but I was assuming that the mobile streaming would be vertical also. And I swore I saw that somewhere. Nope, that is not true. It is horizontal only, which, you know what? That's fine. People can turn their phone. That's a thing that can happen. Just so happens that this painting is a little bit easier to do horizontal also. So it's really good timing on all fronts. Gonna beef up the opacity on these happy clouds before kind of moving down to our melon color here, and then into the rosy color after that. The brushes that I use for like happy clouds are pretty mangled, and it just makes it all the better. Because you can't buy brushes that look like this. That's like years of punishment. I'm forgetting that the horizon line is a little low in one place, so that's where it's going to get a little rosier, or at least that's where it gets rosier in his painting that we're following along to. The one thing about streaming mobily is that I don't have a overlay reference photo on screen, which is too bad because there's plenty of space for it, especially over there on the left where my arm is not. But maybe next time I'll be more prepared for the horizontal format. I was kind of thrown for a loop there, but we're checking in with our reference photo there. We might have a few extra happy clouds, but I'm okay with that. Yeah, you can still view my first two For the Love of Bob Ross live streams on YouTube. And there's a clock like right over here, and I'm checking in with the clock every 10 minutes to make sure that we're on time and gonna get done in under an hour, and it was a little bit on the stressy side. And I think if I'm going to be doing this for the long haul, looking for paintings that I can get done in an hour is not as fun as spending a little bit more time getting more practice with the techniques and more time with the more community involvement, being able to answer chats and questions and that kind of thing, not being so rushed. So originally I was thinking that each month could have a theme for Traditional Thursday. So January is For the Love of Bob Ross. And February, I had some thoughts rolling around in my head. Because we have one more Bob Ross painting for January, and then that's it. January's done. So February, Valentine's Day does fall on a Thursday, but like hell, if I'm gonna draw Valentine's Day stuff all month, that's just not happening. Like maybe on Valentine's Day, but definitely not too far before that and too far after it. Good evening. How are you doing tonight, Equine? Welcome to Traditional Art Thursday. We had a little bit of technical difficulties at the beginning of this stream. It was my first mobile stream on Twitch, and I was pretty sure they did vertical video, but that is not the case. So that was funny for whoever saw it. I deleted it, so there. It's gone. Gone now. We're doing a Bob Ross painting. You can tell by the background here, but this is what we're doing. We're just going to block in the trees right now and then continue on. The layout's going to be a little bit different because space and all that. We're just going to do what makes sense for our canvas in particular. These trees in the background are just huge. And they're not pine trees, they're like these big, I don't know, I guess they're just the classic Bob Ross trees, giant mounding trees of various colors and stuff, but the undertones is all gray, so that's why we're blocking in the gray now. Yeah, I deleted it so fast. It was kind of 3 minutes of me trying to figure out what you can do with mobile streaming for Twitch. As you know, some of the stuff is so new that there's no way to look up what's going to happen. So you kind of just have to jump in and like roll around in it. I know when I started Instagram streaming, there was no information anywhere. And they really don't support it very well, which is ultimately why I came over here to do streaming. Is because it just seems like this weird afterthought where they're like, yeah, you know, people can stream live if they want to, and, you know, we just won't keep the footage, so it won't take up any server space for us. Okay, and then there's a big pine tree here. There's a little cabin here. I'll just kind of roughly put that in with a brush so I don't forget that it's happening. It's just one of Bob's lonely cabins, right? Okay, that's going to be our little cabin. And here's some of the little snowdrifts, and they're extremely kind of awkwardly low horizon line, but I guess what's happening is that sunset is just so extravagantly brilliant that it's just kind of, the color is just blasting away any detail of the trees in front of it. Oh, Bob. And then our pine tree is gonna be here. All right. It gets all dark and shadowy down in here. When it comes to landscape painting, I'm not very technical with brush varieties. It really does depend on the scale that you're painting on, and we're doing an 8x10, so this is like teeny weeny. I'm not going to be able to use any fan brushes here. Okay, and then there's like some foreground shrubs right around here. Oh, you know, the buck is good. We had 3 birds on that thing. We added the 3rd bird. It came out nice. I did post that stream from last night, and I am going to be uploading that one onto my Redbubble. I just didn't have time to do it this morning, so I'm going to try to remember to do that tonight, so you can see the final there. And then of course I'll post it on my blog as well. I'm fairly happy with it, you know, even with just like being new to Krita and stumbling around learning the brushes and how all that stuff works. I came to like the charcoal style that we went with for, you know, just not knowing. And I tell you what, if I didn't have this For the Love of Bob traditional Thursday already planned out, we would be painting a stack of platypuses right now. I was sorely tempted, but this was kind of like already on the schedule. Because we'll have to have a silly day. I mean, you know, you gotta cut loose. Platypuses? Platypi? At the end of last night's stream, somebody had a fantastic idea for a different streamer's first emote. Is it emote? I can't remember what it's called. But we were trying to pick out animals for him, and somebody said platypus, and I was like, oh man, platypus sounds hilarious and amazing if done right. And then I said, yeah, sure, let's just paint a whole stack of them. So we might. It does sound awesome. I mean, how could you say no to that? I mean, I don't know if a whole stack is going to fit in his, you know, little emote or whatever, but we can at least make a stack and put it on a t-shirt or something. All right, it looks like the trees in the far background have a orangey pink glow, and then the ones closer to us are blue. So I accidentally put the paint on the blue first, but we want to do the ones that are melon colored first. So I'm just gonna get another paintbrush to not waste the paint on that one. And I think this guy will serve us well. He's seen some hard times though, he's a little loose. Alright. Occasionally I'm going to be spraying water on our paints so that they're mixable longer, because underneath this warm light they can dry out. And I'm not using extenders on this acrylic paint. Yeah, emotes are like, they're like 20 pixels high or something like that. It's too bad. Well, you know, if they gave people more space, there would be some silliness happening. I'd be running amok. Okay, so since we put so much shadow on these trees and we're working on it with acrylic paints instead of oils, what we're going to have to do in order to do the rosy highlights on this tree is we're going to have to paint white, kind of let it dry a little bit, and then put the rosy color on top, because oranges and yellows are just not as opaque pigments as other tones. It's just what we have to do. yeah, I'm not sure what I am going to do as far as announcing for live streams, kind of like ideas ahead of time. I mean, Traditional Art Thursday is going to stay a thing. I know that some people use Twitter to announce things, but I'm pretty active on Instagram, so I might be using Instagram stories to kind of be like, hey, does a stack of platypuses sound fun to you? Join us on Twitch. And a stack of platypuses will become a reality. Something like that. I still don't know what the plural is of that. That's not something that came to me as I was getting stuff done this morning. I kind of like platypi. Right? You know what though? Unfortunately the mobile streaming doesn't have like an overlay. I have a nice overlay now for all my desktop streaming. I'm pretty happy with. But we are on a phone right now because I'm across the room where nothing reaches. But we'll see if this starts getting traction, then I will put more effort into my traditional setup. But right now it's just once a week, so. Let it ride for a little bit. It would be nice though if they let you have a phone overlay. All they'd have to do is just give you the resolution, and then you can design your PNG and just upload it to Twitch on your computer, and just whenever you go live, they just use it. They just put it on there. I don't feel like that's hard. Really? That's why everybody reads their chat, huh? Okay. Learning. Oh, yeah. You like putting the stream on your TV. I don't blame you. That'd be a nice way to watch, especially the format that Twitch is, which is like a long casual format. And they don't have the chat. That's ridiculous. I haven't tried. I have the Amazon Fire TV stick. I wonder if, since Amazon is they're the people that own Twitch, if it's any better on that. I guess it's still new for them. I do have to get better about reading the chat and then responding to chat, just because not everybody is going to have their chat window open, and if I upload this to YouTube with no chat overlay, they certainly will not know who and why and what I'm responding to. So this is going to be something I'm getting practice with. Okay, now I think those highlights are dry enough and opaque enough to take some rosy orange. Be gone with you, speck. I do, right now on YouTube, I have some, I did some ugly sweater streams around the holiday time that were pretty popular on Instagram. And then I have all of my time-lapse painting videos on YouTube. They're like 3 to 5 minutes long, and they have nice music behind them, and I'd say those are definitely worth a look-see. Those are pretty cool, and that's kind of what I'm building on YouTube is the time-lapse videos of paintings coming together. Kind of a relaxing way. I think right now I'm uploading to YouTube about twice a week. And then I'm going to, hopefully, this is what I hope to do. I want to edit some of the paintings I do on Twitch. I'm going to crop the scene and time-lapse it down so that you can watch an entire painting that maybe you viewed a little bit of on Twitch in like 3 to 5 minutes. All right, let's check in with our reference painting. Boop. It's really intense with the orange here. I think my painting is starting to go a little bit more rosy than orange. I think it's just a personal preference of mine. Yeah, I feel like it's a good idea to upload the time-lapse of the live streams too, because sometimes, you know, it's fantastic to watch live and it's really engaging and interesting to like be there when it's actually happening, but to go back and watch 3 hours of something you can't participate in is really tedious, I feel like, for a lot of people. Especially when there's so, you know, people's libraries of streams are so robust that you just want to kind of like cut to the good stuff. like I find myself just kind of jumping around into various parts and then finding the end and kind of watching the last kind of final moments as they're finishing up. Tell you what though, as much as I made fun of and hated shooting vertical video for Instagram, you could at least see me mixing on the canvas like down here. So that was cool. I feel like some of the pink would be up here in this tree too, so I'm just gonna impromptu that. Alright, looks like we're gonna, while this pink is still on this brush. Oh man, you're about to get more blue contrast too coming up here in a second. You know, I painted something like this at my day job, just kind of as a holiday thing, and it had, you know, some information and whatnot around it. And people just loved the heck of that out of that painting. And I think it was that really pretty rosy color. It was kind of enchanting for a lot of folks. And since it's January, we're doing all of the Bob Ross paintings are going to be the winter ones. I did love the one that we did last week. I like this one quite a bit. And I gave this one away today. So that is what I've been doing. It's kind of fun. And that's why I'm painting a little bit on the small side and on illustration board, is so that I can mail these out in an economical way. And they're nice, they look nice, so I'm okay with it. Oh yeah, and the feeling, there's a different feeling between the first painting that I did also. I don't have that anymore because a viewer in Colorado won that one. But it had it was kind of a purple painting. It had this giant purple snow-capped mountain, and then a frozen lake, and it came down. It was pretty cool. I think we opened up with a pretty solid one. And it felt completely different than last week's painting and then this week's painting. They just have, I'm kind of going for that though. I don't I don't want to just paint, you know, the cold blue winter scenes all month. I think most of this is going to be covered up by that pine tree in the foreground. So I would call this color a melon, but right in here it's super, super orange, and then that's a little bit more melony. You know, I'm looking through my phone and I'm seeing like it's just slightly more orange, but it's not a lot. I wouldn't say the color's off that much. So, yeah. Maybe like a tangy melon, leaning more on the orange side. Let's see. I think we're ready for the blue. You know, that has been nice about the digital painting is not having to do all the color correcting with the lighting and that kind of thing. It's been nice. Okay. Control Z is my favorite. I was telling some traditional painters. I've been a traditional painter forever, and I was telling some people that I work with, like, that are skeptical of digital painting, and I was like, listen, okay, yeah, it's a lot to learn, but you will never feel more free because you can do things you never even would you know, dream of before, like, because the fear is gone. I mean, yeah, now you have fear of like a power outage or something like that, but you can work on something for like hours and hours and hours and then be like, oh, I want to do this really crazy baloney right here. Like, would that look cool? And you don't have to wonder. You can just freaking do a new later and then do it. Just go for it. And then be like, wow, that really sucks. Okay. And just take it away. And it's like it never happened. Whereas, you know, in the traditional art world, you'd be a sad panda. The saddest panda. And then, yeah, not even to mention like the spills and other things that can happen. But the happy mistakes, I think, is that's what Bob would say. Or, I'm sorry, what is the meme? There are no mistakes, just happy accidents. Something like that. See, before I started doing the Bob Ross live streams, I studied up on my Bob Ross memes, but now it's been 3 weeks, so they're kind of fading away. You know, yeah. Like I had the Wacom 3 that everybody had, you know, and then they went ahead and stopped supporting it, which made everybody sad and forced them to upgrade. But thankfully, at this point, everything was a lot cheaper than it used to be. I mean, the first time I looked at a graphics tablet, it was like the cost of a car or something. Just absurd. But at least then you could get Photoshop for cheap, which is no longer the case. But now there's other programs that compete pretty. You know, they're not the same. I'm not gonna lie. I would still prefer to have Photoshop, but I'm not shelling out monthly for it. Not at this point in my online career, maybe later. But for me, like I just keep on making stuff. I'm making stuff. I'm up to my ears in paintings. My shed outside is full of paintings that are nicely wrapped up in garbage bags and stored in boxes and filed and categorized. I mean, I'm just like, you know, I can't just keep on making physical things. There's no space. And this I could just freaking make. I could just keep on making stuff. Upload it to the cloud. There. I got plenty of content, and my house is not overflowing with paintings I can't get rid of. Oh yeah. Yeah, I think this I'm going whole hog into the streaming thing because, you know, I'm making art every night anyway. And I'm more than happy to talk to people while I do it. Hello. Welcome to our Bob for the Love of Bob Ross stream. But I tell you what, I do still feel more comfortable painting traditionally. So that's why I'm keeping traditional Thursday in here, kind of keeping it small so it doesn't like crowd me out of house and home. And then gives me something physical to give away. Oh man, brush down. Dropped one. Haven't dropped one at all until now. Thankfully, I don't have carpet. It's really too bad you couldn't see that. And then I tell you what else I wish I did in preparation for tonight's stream is the code word for the giveaway, which is Bob3, that you enter into the website to win the painting. And luckily I just have a piece of tape just hanging out right here. And the reason why this is so not together is because we had to go from vertical video to horizontal video. So all of a sudden, I was like, oh, nose. What do we do? And then I think you can see just a little bit of my fur baby microphone right there. We'll just move that out of the frame. Now we're back in business. All right. What were we doing? Oh, that's right, we dropped our brush on the floor. We're gonna go back to the blue and shade up these trees here. Oop, that's a little light. I'm gonna add more blue here. It's going great. How are you doing tonight? Great. I'm glad you are doing amazing. This is my third For the Love of Bob Ross painting to give away. And there's one more after this because this is the theme for January's Traditional Art Thursday. And next month, we will have a different theme. Thank you. If you're interested in winning it, if you are in the continental US. If you're in the continental US, you can go to this website right here, enter in that code word right there, and you'll be in the drawing. So that's super exciting. And I'm going to be posting this on YouTube and on Instagram, so all those folks can have a chance to win also. Just fun for everybody. We could probably check in with our reference painting. So we have a cabin and a pine tree left to go as far as figures, and then everything else is just some tinting and a little bit of detailing. Not too much though, this is still kind of a small painting. We're gonna put the subtle branches that I see in that painting. I'll tell you what, this also, if you're interested in painting with Bob or along with Bob, yeah, of course there's the show, but I looked, he has, well, not he, whoever's managing his IP has a website up, has some painting tutorials on it, and believe it or not, this is also what I learned while I was looking at Bob Ross stuff, there's like a group or a foundation or something like that where you can be certified as a Bob Ross painter and do lessons as a Bob Ross certified painter, and I just about cracked up so hard I fell out of my chair. That is so funny. Somebody's trying to make money off of that. I give the paintings away at the beginning of the next Thursday stream. So at the beginning of this stream, I gave away this painting, which was last week's Bob Ross. So this one will stick around my house, accrue a bunch of entries, and then I'll do the drawing the beginning of Thursday, and then we'll paint another painting. It'll be one more Bob Ross, and then we go on from there. And who knows, maybe we'll get adventurous and do a different medium. Maybe sometimes we'll do illustration. I don't know. Okay, I think we're about done with that blue. I think we're gonna mix the color for the cabin, block that in, and then do the branches on all of those trees. And then we're gonna jump to that pine tree in the foreground. So we need kind of a dark brown. And I'm just mixing from the primaries here. A little bit more blue. It's almost there. I like painting on these little, these are yogurt lids. Because if they really get messy, then I can just, you know, move on into the stack that I have over here. Okay. Ooh, how do I attach my canvas board up there? Well, it's a piece of illustration board, and this is a nice, slick piece of acrylic that I can wipe down in between paintings. And the magic is tape. It's just doubled over tape. It's like a loop. You make a backwards loop of tape, and then you put 2 of them down, and it will just peel off really nicely after it dries. I'll remove it tomorrow. And it just stays flat and everything. Okay. Yeah, with the bouncing and stuff. especially when you're like really working on something that, well, when you're painting Bob Ross style, you do a lot of like this brush mashing, and it kind of moves stuff around, and then if you can't touch a part yet, I could see how that would get really annoying. But this is for, I don't know how to say this, it's not really a frame. I guess it kind of would be in the frame department of like an art and craft store or something like that, but it has these little magnets. You can't see them from your vantage, but it has these little magnets, and you can put a picture inside of it and the magnets keep it closed. But I didn't like the way it looked with illustrations in it, so I was like, well, how can I repurpose this thing? I like the way that acrylic paint just wipes right off of it, so this is its newfound purpose. And because of that, it wasn't very expensive at all. I want to say, because they come in different sizes, I want to say it was around $20, maybe less. This one is probably 20 inches wide, maybe. Hold on. Oh my God, it's 20 inches wide. That's right. I guessed that. It's 20 inches by 16 inches. And I do not think it was very much. I think you can get pieces of acrylic and little frames and stuff like that at art stores for pretty darn cheap in different sizes. Where was I? Oh, that's right, barn. Lightening up this side of the barn. Just a tad. And then furthermore, we're upright right now. I'm painting upright. And I have this painting where it would attach to the wall. This is wired onto a tabletop easel, so it's not going anywhere. It is attached, because the last thing I wanted to do is be, you know, painting happy little trees or happy little clouds or something like that and have this whole thing like tip. Tragedy strikes. Yeah, so I was trying to avoid that, because I know how bouncy painting some things can be. I do, and I wonder if that's something I can show you. Probably. Let's see. This could be exciting. Okay, ready? We're gonna look at the easel. Whoop. That's what we're looking at as far as setup. And we're back. That was harmless. Okay, now we're done with the barn. There's snow all over the roof. We're gonna have to wait for the walls to dry a little bit before we paint in the windows, which are going to need a backing of white on there. So what we're going to do is we're going to do the pine tree next. Yeah, I guess it depends on what type of tabletop easel you have. All right, let's do this pine tree. It's always a little bit nerve-wracking when starting one of these Bob Ross trees with a brush that's kind of on the big side. So the tops are supposed to be narrow. Yeah, I guess to make a tabletop easel more sturdy, depending on what kind of feet it has, you know that blue artist putty that you can stick to things that comes unstuck? It's kind of like, feels like Play-Doh. It's for temporarily mounting things onto walls. It's not supposed to leave any marks, and it stays putty-like forever. I've had really good luck with sticking that on things that I don't want to move. Yeah, I mean, and it doesn't ruin your furniture either, so if you're sticking something shiny to something else shiny, it like stays on there. I am a professional at jerry rigging. I would put it on my resume if I was looking for a job. And now we're bouncing seriously with this tree right here. The first time I did the Bob stream, that's what I'm gonna call it, the Bob stream, I had the camera on a bendy camera holding arm, but it was attached to the table, and I didn't think about it until I started doing the happy clouds, and I was like, oh my word, this is just not a good viewing experience. How funny. There, I like those branches pretty well. Alright, now we said we were gonna do the branches, the subtle branches on the trees. Thank you for coming by. We'll see you again sometime. I post all the finished paintings on Instagram. If anybody is interested in just seeing a snapshot of what was completed during any of the streams, I am going to post it on Instagram and on YouTube. We're hoping to get time-lapse videos of almost everything we work on, at least the stuff that's available in the print store. But I'm still working on learning video editing software for my desktop computer. I was previously doing it on my phone and had learned a great deal, but now I'm switching to video editing on the computer. We'll see how it goes. I am that lady that puts birds on things. No birds tonight, though. Tonight is For the Love of Bob Ross traditional painting night, which is equally exciting, I think. We had to postpone the platypuses because this was already planned. This was already a thing that was happening, which made me sad. But then it's like, well, we'll just do platypuses tomorrow. Plata something. Plata what? Maybe that'll be the text on it. Yeah, me neither. I've been struggling with it ever since last night, and what's great about that is I've spent more time struggling about it than it would take to Google it. This is a script brush that I'm using for these tiny little branches. And the trick to make the script brush even tinier, I don't know how this is gonna focus. Come on, focus. There we go. Is you take something like a sharp edge and you just sharpen it up. Make sure the paint is nice and viscous, and then go the sharp way. And just pull in one direction. There's no going back. There's never going back. Who's it? Was that a never-ending story? That you can never go back? Bastion! No, that's not right. That's not right at all. Who's the person that could never go back? Oh, it's an All Dogs Go to Heaven. Oh, I screwed that up. Charlie. Charlie! You can never go back. Platypuses. All right, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. The correct pluralization of platypus is platypus. Good God, it's platypuses. Platypods. Am I saying that right? Or is it like platypodes? Listen, grammar can be a touchy topic. I just don't claim to know anything. Keeps me nice and safe. That's where I like it. Nice and safe. So I think we're adding quite a few more branches than in the original, but I like it. It's definitely adding some interest and some dimension here. Here and there, and there and here. We're going to make the branches a little bit darker in these foreground shrubs. Shrubberies. I want to say shrubberies. Lots of people fight about pluralization. Shrubberin, join me. All my dear shrubberin. Bask and behold the greatness that is many tiny blue shrubberies. Or shrubberin. No, shrubberin. Doesn't sound like that at all. I don't believe it for a second. Oh, that's a little too translucent. We want a little bit more impact than that. And that's what happens when you don't wedge the edge on your script brush before you pull the line. The more you know. But tell you what, when you add more acrylic paint to your brush, it makes your bristles, the brush hairs, it makes them flay out more easily. So you gotta check yourself before you chickadee wreck yourself. On your script brush edge. And unfortunately you can't see me doing it. I gotta figure out a way where you can see my palette. It's funny, I just hated vertical video for weeks and then I got used to it and admired the perks, and now I'm back to horizontal and I'm like, what do we do? I don't know what we do. You know, yeah, shrubberies. Shrubberin. Shrubberin! I just feel like we're gathering for a meeting when we say shrubberin. So for that reason alone, it just makes it more fun. And for our purposes, I think that's okay. Okay, that looks good. We're gonna now, that tree's still wet, so we're not gonna touch it. You don't want dirty snow. Don't touch that yet. That's not dry. But this is dry. So we're gonna snow up that little cabin, and we're gonna block in the windows so that we can, in a moment here, put the little glowies in them. Ladies, gentlemen, shrubberin, lend me your ears. I like it. I like where we're going there. If the traditional painting takes off, we'll do a proper setup. We'll do a face cam, because you know you need to be able to see my performances. We'll do a camera that has the palette in it too. This is all barring that people really dig the traditional stuff, because otherwise I'm going to be doing digital more often. Okay, there are some icicles on this rooftop. The ears have been lent. Oh, it looks like there's a bunch of little tiny icicles, so let's do some little icicles. I don't know if anybody is anywhere where icicles are a thing right now, but them things are scary. Okay, let's check in on our reference photo, or reference painting rather. There it is. We're still going for that in a very ish kind of way, a very inspired by kind of way. Bob Ross painted in oil painting, because when he was painting on TV, and it's funny because I watched a bunch of his videos in preparation for this month for the Love of Bob Ross painting series, and he never, or at least not in the episodes I watched, which I watched quite a few, he never mentions that he's painting in oil paints, but he does show you like the brush banger and talks about using turpentine rather, and using scentless turpentine and all that stuff. And I think it's just that acrylic paints were kind of poo-poo back then. So everybody that was a painter painted in oils, which is why if you go to the Goodwill, there's just a bunch of old oil paintings there from so-and-so's grandma, grandpa, or whatever, who was a painter. The process is so different if you're using acrylic paints. All right, little tiny windows, like little tiny baby windows. Oh my God. I should have done the windows on the left first. I don't know what I was thinking. I'm right-handed. We'll just kind of angle our hand a little bit. Okay, now we got two tiny windows on this wall. Oh, the pain. Ah, okay. It's funny, the positioning of those windows kind of makes this house like a happy little house. These look like happy little house eyeballs. If, you know, because house eyeballs would obviously be square. You're in Michigan, but they only have a small bit of snow right now, mainly melting. I think the West Coast has your precipitation right now. I'm on the West Coast, and I tell you what, it has been raining like the sky hates water for a couple of weeks. And I'm so glad I live on a gradual slant with no major rivers next to me, because I do not like worrying about that stuff. Much love to you in the chat, and much luck to you and your tiny windows. Thank you so much for coming in and being a part of the chat, and I hope to see you again. You have a lovely evening, or what have you. Kind of bringing some of the snowdrift up onto the house here. Yeah, have a good day night. You never really know where people are coming from. I still have to change my channel information to UTC, but of course I had to look at a converter first to figure out, because I just don't operate in UTC in the rest of my life, so I didn't know. I was in a guild in a game that operated just on UTC, so it kind of trained me to at least think of that. And it just makes sense for things like this. Okay, now the second roof here. I tell you what, I feel like this roof line should have a little bit of the orange glow on it, and that's not in his painting, but I really strongly feel that, so we're going to add it. Because I said so, and there's no rules. There's no rules here, and I'm going to keep it that way, or at least within reason. Oh yeah, we're definitely going to highlight that edge because it kind of just blends into the surrounding snowdrifts. And here are our scary icicles of death. Oh, they're so small and unassuming from this distance. Okay, it looks like there's a little bit of frost coming up on that house. We're gonna dilute the white on our brush to kind of make it look like there's some snow stuck to the exterior of that little house. Because that would actually happen. Oh, accidentally tapped a tiny window. The tiny ones are very delicate. You have to be really gentle with those. Dental? No, don't be dental with them. Do not bite your tiny windows. Okay. Now, a little bit of glow on the house and a little bit of glow on the roof line in the snow. You'll have to excuse me, I've been painting all day. I have a day job where I paint, and this is good. I was painting bananas all day, like bananas, the fruit, like bananas, B-A-N-A-N-A-S. So many bananas. And I have to paint bananas probably all day tomorrow, possibly the day after that. It's not always glamorous being a painter. Actually, the bananas are turning out really well. I'm quite enjoying it, and I will post that on my Leah Rose Art Instagram. Not the Leah Rose Outdoorsy art, that's for beautiful landscape paintings like this. Bananas. Paintings of bananas go on the other one. I mean, if you can manage anything streaming after having a day job, that's doing pretty good. That's already more ambitious than, you know, a majority of the people. You just keep on doing what you want to do with yourself and just keep trying. There, I like that. That glow makes those roof edges stand out from the surrounding snow. They kind of give it a little bit more dimension. I like it. Now we're gonna add some warmth to the cabin and then warmth to the windows. Yeah, after a couple hours you get writer's block. You know, that's brutal. Yeah, painter's block is a thing too, where you just kind of, you're like, oh, I have time to be creative. I should be creative at least to like practice the skill. And you're just like, what do I do? I don't know. And I do not know if it applies to writing at all. I don't. But for painting and art, they say if you feel like you're experiencing painter's block or just don't know what to do, do anything. Like even just start doing like circles, circle, 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 and do this thing called automatic drawing, where you just sit in front of a blank piece of paper and you just start making organic shapes. And you kind of let your mind like be empty and relax and just draw whatever comes to you. And I guess that's called automatic drawing. And I think I might stream some automatic drawing for a monthly, maybe not a monthly theme, because I don't know if I can get 4 different illustrations out of that. But at least I'll do a good amount of research on it and then teach a automatic painting type night. It'll be fun. Okay, now the window glow. Oh, I didn't even have to rinse the pink off my brush because the window glow's just a tad bit orange, and pink and yellow make an awesome orange most of the time. I'm not gonna say all the time. Because, you know, some colors, some hues mix and some hues do not mix. It depends on what the pigment is going on here. Depends on the pigment that they're made out of. Okay, that needs to be stronger. Way stronger. Okay, I feel like we can add a little bit more shadow to that back face of the cabin. This is just kind of, I don't feel like it's mandatory, but it bothers me just a scotch, just a little. We'll just do it with a lot of water in the paint so that it doesn't mess anything up, right? Make sure to get all the extra paint off the back side of the brush there. I would not call this the ideal time to do this. The ideal time to do this would have been before the icicles of death. But it gives us an opportunity to square up our windows a little bit. And with tiny, tiny windows, it is easier to square them up from the outside than it is to paint like a tiny square from the inside. We were listening to a copyright-free music playlist on YouTube. So while I did click on the link and am responsible for clicking on the link, I didn't like pick out this whistle tune and be like, yeah, that's what I want to drive to tonight. That's like my thing. So it's kind of just flying by the seat of its pants, of the YouTube pants. Flying by the seat of our YouTube pants. I like that. Because, you know, if you're not careful, you can do that for hours. Just fly by the seat of your YouTube pants. You know. That's why I feel like streaming is so great. It's kind of like slightly being held accountable. Kinda. Because, you know, I know everyone would miss me if I just disappeared. Okay, not yet. Maybe later. Okay, this looks way better. Way better than it did before. With the exception of that one little spot, which I'll come back and fix later. Because if acrylic is not behaving for you, if it's like lifting off, if you do too much mixing, it's going to lift off itself. But just, you know, if it does that, stop touching it. I used to be terrible at that. I would just like try to fix it. No, move on to something else. Come back after it's dry and adjust it later, because man, you can get yourself in so much trouble. Because it'll just keep on lifting off. Oh shoot, undo. Oh, it didn't work. Oh, I want that to be dry already. Oh, we gotta add snow to our pine tree now that it's dry, because we've been waiting. That's for sure dry. That's not a glare. Okay. I'm going to use a similar brush that we used to put the bristles on there. We used a flat, so we're going to use a flat to put the snow on. Kind of mimic a similar feeling. Oh, did I just get black on my paintbrush? Okay, hold on. White, white. We're painting with white. Let's snow this tree. Sometimes with those big brushes and those small trees, you just have to like go for it and just say to yourself, happy tree, happy tree, happy tree, happy tree. It's a little bit different than a Bob Ross class. Not just the acrylic paint and the absence of the almighty brush banger. But the acknowledgement of a little bit of like, oh crud, anxiety. Happy accidents, people. No mistakes. I guess there's a shirt. Okay, this is a funny story. There's a guy at my work. I was telling him about the Bob Ross stream, tune in, blah, 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 blah. And he's like, you know, what my mom got me for Christmas is a shirt that says that quote on it. There's no mistakes in life, just happy accidents. And I was like, my God, man, your mom gave you that? That is the funniest thing I've heard all day. That is so great. Oh, you're not an accident, babe. My favorite piece of Bob Ross merchandise I saw this year was the Bob Ross bobblehead doll. It was at clearance on Target. I don't have room in my life for that kind of thing, but it was funny. All right. Yes, exactly. He's not a mistake. He was an accident. Fantastic. His mom must have a really great sense of humor. I can't help but think. I mean, there's no way she could have just naively been like, oh, it's a Bob Ross shirt. That's cool, right? No, that's totally like a joke there. Alright, maybe we do some like flocking of snow here on the shrubberin. Shrubberin. Okay. The painting looks nice, thank you. The painting is coming along. The painting is coming to a close here pretty soon, but I'll tell you what, we have to visit the windows, the tiny little windows, one more time. That is a nice little face. Okay, that little funny, okay, no, the snow is wet, so I have to be careful here. The snow is wet. Oh, there, see, it was so much better to wait on the window biff that we had earlier. Okay, now, I waited until the very end. It's the moment we've all been waiting for. I need to put the tiny, tiny little window panes on the tiny, tiniest little windows. Wax Dragon, you've painted on stream 3 or 4 times now. You're practicing. That's awesome. Watching Bob Ross made you want to learn. That's cool. Have you been watching Bob Ross recently, or was that something that you did like when it was on television? Because I know that he's back. He's like in vogue now. Which, you know, that's what happens when artists dies, is they become famous, right? So I guess that's why you're supposed to have offspring, so somebody can benefit. Okay, here we go. Ah! 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 Can you even tell? You can. You can tell. Okay, I can tell that it's just like slightly more on the right than on the left. I don't want to hear it. That is in the middle-ish. We can just call it perspective. Twitch streams Bob Ross. Yeah, I saw that. I did see that. You know, it's not a bad place to start. I mean, but you do have to consider it is oil paint. He doesn't say it, that it's oil paint. That is a dramatic difference. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna hold my breath. It's good enough for government work. You know, I'm looking at his, hold on, let me show you this before we compare. Do you see his window panes? They're not exactly in the middle, so I'm not going to feel that. Ah, feels good, man. I am not putting the vertical paint on that little window. I mean, look how no, forget about it. No. We're not doing it. We're not taking that chance, but we will install the tiny little chimney. But I do find something kind of peculiar about this chimney, and I'll let you know. There's no smoke coming out of it. So, like, what are they doing? Are they using a space heater? There's light in this window. Good enough for government work used to mean really high quality. Yeah. I think in my mind, if you can check it off as complete, then it's good enough for government work. You want to see my fan brush? Oh man, I can't use it on pieces that are this small. But I'll show you. Little fan brush. No, that's not it. That's just, it was laying next to the fan brushes. I'm just joking. These are the fan brushes that I have. La 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 la. They're a little dusty, because you don't really need these too much. Nice to look at. Bob uses such giant canvases that I like cannot afford to follow along exactly like his lessons. So now I just have giant paintings I can't get rid of all over the place. I think the tiny little chimney is fine. And the tiny little chimney, not only does it not have smoke coming out of it, but it has snow on top of it. I don't see any power lines. They must have, okay, so this family, I'm assuming a family lives here because all of their lights are on. Maybe their small child lives in this tiny room. I don't know. Maybe they're just short people, or maybe just their roommate, Chuck, lives in the small room out on the side. It's okay. They don't charge him as much rent. But they got to be using like space heaters, or maybe there's just solar panels on the other side of the house. Your fan brush has cat scratch fever. You know, there are different, like the bristles have different, I don't know the technical term, pliability? My brush lingo is no good for teaching. Like, that's why I call this like tutorial light. This is very tutorial light. It's kind of like, you just know I didn't go to art school. We'll either call it like tutorial light or tutorial-ish. I don't know what I like better there. Yeah, Chuck, right? Totally will take the small room on the edge, because I mean, all he does is sleep there, right? He spends the rest of his day outside. You just need room for a bed. I don't know. What do you think? Do we look done? Kind of look done to me. Let's check our Bob Ross original. Okay, so there's the what we're painting from. Chuck's room, the window panes, the frosted cabin, the yeah, all that stuff. It's a little bit more orange. Be prepared. Okay. His has definitely got some more saturation, some darker lows. But I like ours too. It's a little bit softer, a little bit easier on the eyes. And the trees have a little bit like more definition in different ways, more branches. So I'm happy with that. Your painting is completely amateur? Thank you for calling my painting pretty. I'm trying. I've been painting for a long time. You just got to keep on doing it. So this was our Bob Ross from last week that was given away to a viewer. The Bob Ross from week 1 has already been mailed to Colorado. This is Bob Ross week 3. So anybody that is interested on having this shipped to their house in the continental US, please sign up at the website, my website, here. Enter the code word Bob3, and I will draw a winner and announce the winner live next Thursday on our traditional Artwork Thursday, where we will do one more Bob Ross winner scene, and then in February there will be a completely different theme. So exciting. And once again, if this is something that you like, the traditional Painting Thursdays, we can do more of it. and I can get a face cam over here, an overlay. I don't know. Right now I'm just talking and being expressive with my hands because you can see me every other day of the week at my other studio spot behind us, digital painting. So thank you so much for watching. It was truly a pleasure. And tomorrow on Twitch, we're going to be illustrating a stack of platypuses. I still want to say platypi. A stack of platypuses tomorrow, 9-ish. We'll do a t-shirt design. It'll be like plata what? Maybe we'll do a coffee mug. It'll be great. It'll be too much fun. Do not have Twitter. I have Instagram. Everything is in the info page if you go to my profile, but my Instagram is going to be at Leah Rose Art or at Leah Rose Outdoorsy Art. I announce events on my stories there for Instagram. I really should get my Twitter life together because I know people still do it. I've just never done it. I have 2 followers. I don't know. I do have an account. I'll link it. I'll put that on my homework list. It's right up there with changing all my times to UTC. Right under it. It's not hard. I know it's not hard. Oh, it's on the list. For you, goes for everyone. It goes on the list. I'll do it. I'll follow all your followers. That'll be great. All right, we'll do Twitter, we'll do the UTC, we'll do the stack of platypuses. I will see anybody that wants to join us tomorrow night. Super fun. Thank you so much. You can look for the YouTube content later and have a beautiful evening.